Was there any way in the world in which the mechanics of an apostasy and honor-killing case could have been introduced, or would that have been a bad theory?
We learned through litigating this case that those making the decisions, the magistrate and the judge, wanted no part of that, and either A, would not have allowed it in, or would not have weighed it in favor of more traditional evidence related to, is this a dependent child? Now, on the other hand, if we were going to go to trial back in January on the issue of whether there's a conflict between parent and child, we were prepared to present expert testimony on apostasy, Sharia law, honor killings. Even if the court wouldn't have allowed us, we would do something called a proffer, meaning having our expert come in and say, this is what I would have said if you had allowed me to. Just this week when we were set for trial, we had a couple of experts ready to come in and talk about that, talk about Sri Lanka, talk about the violence there to Christians, talk about Sharia law and apostasy, as to why she can't go back there, and as to why she can't reunify. So maybe because of the gag order, maybe because we were trying to litigate it traditionally to get agreement and to get what we needed for Rifqa, it didn't appear we were going there, but trust me, we were going there and we had it ready to go. Some may say we didn't, they think, but what the people who say it should be tried a certain way, there's no jury trial. You have to try this to a magistrate and a judge who don't want to hear that kind of stuff and are not going to rule in your favor. So it's all well and good. I could have presented 6 days of apostasy and Sharia law, but if on the 7th day the judge said, Rifqa, you lose, then how have I helped Rifqa? My goal is to get the result for her. However, we need to do it within the bounds of the law.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
Well, yes, I think there probably is. We probably could have maybe looked further down the road at the very beginning, maybe not have been so trusting that maybe we could get agreement on certain things. We probably could have said from day one, don't even bother trying to get any agreement. But what you have to understand is, at the beginning of this litigation, the parents had an attorney on this case who we believe we could have settled everything, dependency, immigration, with in a month. In fact, we had had discussions about it. They got rid of him. And then everything changed, and then it was never the same.
But they got rid of him. Who is they?
I don't know. I just know that things were headed in the right direction with that attorney, and then that attorney was gone, and things never really got in the right direction after that. In fact, they consistently went in the other direction.
A financial issue with the Barrys. On the financial side, are you being paid for this work with Rifqa?
No.
You're not being paid?
No.
This is all pro bono?
I've not been paid a penny for this.
And why?
Because from day one, that was the expectation. When I picked up the phone and said that I was willing to do it, I said I was willing to do it not for pay. That's not what this is about. This is not a case for money for me. It's a case to do the right thing for the person who needs it. She needed help. There was nobody up here, and they said we're going to need a team. And so I was glad to step in and handle that, and I didn't do it because I thought I would get paid someday. That's not what this is about.
Where is this going now? Where are we at right now, and what are the potential directions it can go?
Major issue at the start of this, keeping her. She didn't want to go back with her parents. That's over. We don't have to worry about that anymore. She will never have to be compelled.
Congratulations,
to do that. Yes,
by the way.
thank you. The second problem is the one that is still there, is immigration. The magistrate just yesterday issued findings, special findings that we asked for, saying she couldn't reunify and can't go back to Sri Lanka. But she didn't give us those magic words. So we brought, my co-counsel, Angela Lloyd, who's an expert in immigration law, brought the findings to the immigration people today. They're looking at them. They're looking to see whether they want to keep her in this country, but they have to be sure that the findings meet the statutory language in the U.S. Code.
This is such an unbelievably dramatic case. The aspect of cancer, she's a cancer victim fighting cancer and needing payment for that. How is that dealt with if she doesn't have Social Security number and access to public funds?
That's a great question, because the answer is we don't know. We hope that whoever it is would be treating her would be dealing with it. In theory, they can potentially give grant money for various things, but that will never cover anything, or not everything. And the problem could be she could be saddled with huge, huge bills. They may say, okay, we'll give you the treatment, but you are now 18. You are now responsible for all this. So again, the parents sort of luck out. They don't have to pay for any of this.
Crazy case.
Never a dull moment.
Has there been any hour in the past almost a year where you haven't thought about this case?
You always have to wonder, what is the other side doing? Why are they doing it? And it's not the traditional bases that I'm used to, that when I'm fighting the state of Ohio at the prosecutor's office in the defense. I get that. Some of this stuff is mind-boggling to me. It defies logic, and that's why it isn't logical. It's for some other reason.
And flesh that out a little bit. I mean, what would be mind-boggling on the other side? I mean, the implication is that the Bary legal team is lying, is deceiving, is throwing up smoke. I mean, isn't that what lawyers do?
No, I mean, they shouldn't be. You shouldn't be lying. I mean, you should be representing your client as zealously as possible within the bounds of the law. That's what you should always do. And just because they take a strategy or tact that you don't agree with doesn't mean they're lying, or doesn't mean that you should be upset at them. That's not, I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is that some of the things or strategies they do would not be helping their own side. I mean, I can't see a reason why they would do it. It won't help them. For example, fighting this issue on immigration, how does that possibly help them? If we had had the trial we asked for, I can't tell you how upset immigration would be at the parents because of the evidence we would have had to have introduced. We kept telling parents' attorney, you don't want to go there. This is not going to help you. And how does it help your daughter to fight her on immigration? So again, I understand a prosecutor saying to me in a criminal case, I'm not going to agree to reducing that charge, or I'm not going to agree to 1 year in prison, I want 5. I get that. But here I don't, it defies logic. The strategies don't make sense to me.
Going outside the courtroom, those who did the analysis of the Noor Mosque that you mentioned, CARE, that inserted themselves in this case very early and is still there, and Muslim principles, the Islamic principles of Sharia law and apostasy and all those issues. Those analysts say there's another battle being taking place in that realm, and we have to win. We, being the Islamic community, has to win. This girl has to lose because she converted out. That's these large kind of epic themes. Do you see any of that as you take your eyes off the mechanics of the law and look at the philosophical elements?
Oh, well, that would make some sense as to why they were fighting things that they logically shouldn't be fighting.
What are the lessons you want Americans to know about this case?
Other people, I guess, pulling the strings, and you have to account for that. And I think it's unfortunate, but a lot of this comes from their views or what religious tenets they have that they have to stick to, and that's okay. I mean, my feeling all along is if you be whatever religion you want, but don't impose it on other people and don't prevent them from doing what they want to do. But that's not what other religions believe, and you have to be aware of that.
All right, that's one lesson. Do your homework. Be prepared for this clash of philosophical positions. What else? What other lessons can be drawn from this amazing experience?
Well, I think in my view, I mean, I got to learn how even a young kid can be so smart in learning Christianity, even given in the face of all of what she's been through. I mean, to me, it's just miraculous. I think she should be speaking to people about what she's learned, because she's taught me plenty of things. I'm a pretty religious person, or so I thought. She can quote scripture much better than I can. But then again, she's been unfortunate enough to be in a situation where she was broken and she didn't have a good home, and she turned to Christ, and because of it is a better person. And she's still trying to get her parents to understand that, and I think that's an amazing, her story is an amazing story, and one which hopefully everybody can learn from. And obviously I have my own bias being a Christian, but I just think for me that was a big lesson learned in being more deeply involved in your faith.
Well, if she was sitting right here, right now, and in the midst of all this, what would you say to her?
You're amazing. Probably the first thing she would do is she would get up and hug you, because that's who she is. She has so much love for everyone, and that's why, to me, it's amazing throughout this whole story, she's still trying to reach out to her parents to forgive them for what they've done, and they don't reciprocate. And that's, I think, a religious issue too, and how you show your emotions and show your feelings. And you know, I'd say to Rifqa now too, the sky's the limit. You know, you have so many people that care about you and for you and will support you as best they can throughout the rest of your life. She mentioned one of the unfortunate times when she had problems with her father was when he found the Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life. And I think it was Rick or his dad said, I got to go save some more people for Jesus. Well, that's what I'd say to Rifqa, go save some more people for Jesus, because that's what she's going to do.
And what's the, as we close this, what's the status of the cancer that could change things very dramatically?
This was another particularly frustrating part of this case. The parents filed a motion to demand that she continue to have chemotherapy. Now, some may argue, oh, they're just being parents doing a great thing. Well, you know what? When you read the motion, it says she went to a faith healer, said she claimed she was healed, and that was it. And they didn't. And so, again, that to me was another. I would never, in my normal practice, see attorneys filing motions like that. I would see them filing motions with facts, real facts, because the real facts in that were that she went to a prayer conference and then had surgery and had chemotherapy. So the motion was a complete lie. She only decided not to have chemotherapy, A, because she was extremely sick and weak, and B, most importantly, she consulted with her doctors, and a doctor says you are cancer-free now based on the techniques that we can see, the imaging techniques. However, there is a significant risk if you refuse this chemotherapy that it could come back. So what Rifqa decided to do is, okay, I'm going to keep having my checkups, keep having you look and see, and I may change my mind. I may go back and start on it again. Or if you see something that is a concern, I may do it then. But right now, while I'm in the middle of this fight for my life on immigration, and I'm about to turn 18, I just can't do it. I mean, she was so weak. It was once a week, too. I mean, most chemo is, you know, once every 3 weeks or whatever. So I think what she's doing is she's taking a step back. She's going to look at things, make some decisions, get with some other people when it's not so stressful in her life. And, you know, we've encouraged her to do that and to you know, consult with people she trusts and believes in and keep looking at it. She's not giving up treatment. I mean, if the thought is out there that we have advocated that or that she has advocated just saying forget it, that's not the case. I mean, right now she is cancer-free, so, and she feels much better having stopped the chemo, but there's a substantial likelihood that she may have to restart it again.
Okay, one final question, important question. When Spielberg does the Rifqa Bary story, who do you think should play you?
Oh, boy, let's see. I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? You know, I like De Niro, although I don't know if there'll be any shooting involved.
No, this was a shoot. This was a gun-free zone in this case. That was good. Any other thoughts or concerns you'd like to just share?
There were a ton of people that were tremendously helpful. Yourself and a lot of people from Florida, the Lorenzes, John Stemberger, people who really honestly care about Rifqa, and we can't, you know, I couldn't have gotten through this case without them. People shooting me emails, texts, voicemails saying, we're praying for you, great job. It was so important. And don't think that I didn't look at every one of them even if I didn't respond to them. By the same token, like I said, there are others that are detractors out there. Just know that my client, it's not helping her, and she's a young kid still, even a young adult come Tuesday. It makes her feel terrible that people are still attacking people that are close to her. Do something that's helpful for her. She's going to need it. She's probably going to need funding. She's probably going to need that because she's not going to have medical status. Support her any way you can. She's worthy of support. She's the most worthy client I've ever had. So do anything you can. Any suggestions, positive suggestions to help the team, we're all more than willing to accept them.
We'll do it.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thanks.